What's up, everyone? It's Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training, and we are live on Facebook and YouTube. It is 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. So if you are watching this after 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are no longer live. That means I will not be able to answer your question live. I'll just have to type it in. So make sure we're here every Thursday at 6 p.m. So make sure if you miss this one and you want to catch us live, that you'll have to wait till next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is a dog behavior Q&A where you guys ask me as many questions as you like, no matter how crazy the question is. It will help people watching, other people watching. So feel free to ask those questions because it will only help, hopefully, help you, but it will also help other people that are going through the same thing. Okay, because I always talk about dogs being, in general, the same from a needs perspective. And a lot of behavior, good or bad, stem from their needs. So there are people still out there that lose hope that their dog can be changed or be helped, and so I want to make sure we are not leaving those people behind in some way, because I can't work with everyone, and I can't help everyone, but I can at least give some tips. So when I talk about working with people, I'm talking about them actually paying me to improve their dog. But so like I said, at the very least, I can give them some pointers. I can point them in the direction of a trainer, another trainer that could maybe help them, or refer people to my YouTube channel that has over 200 videos, instructional videos, and we try and tackle the most common challenges that people have. All right, so let's get started. If any of you at any time have any questions that are live too, I'll answer you guys as first, but I'm going to ask from other. Oh, okay, got a question. All right. Okay, when introducing two dogs, we talked about face-to-face process, but is it acceptable for one to be in the kennel and the other one out, and they meet through the kennel, or should they be separate rooms at all times until the meeting has happened, everything is well? I think that's a great question. What I think has to be what has to happen is that you have the ability to either control or correct any potential problems. So it may be a good strategy actually if Lola is the one that's out and the puppy is the one that's in the crate. That way Lola can walk away from the obnoxious puppy while Lola has the opportunity to sniff the dog without the chance of the puppy overwhelming the dog, because puppies do what? They overwhelm their puppies. And so to ensure a good transition, a good start to the relationship, taking things slow in that regard would be good. I probably didn't, when I brought in a puppy and I had two older dogs, I didn't introduce them for about a week. So But as long as Lola is under your control, um, you should be fine. All right. So you can practice that. You can practice. You can put her e-collar on her, and let her in, let her go over, let her sniff, and then uh, after about 10 seconds, call her back over to you, make her lay down, maybe let her go on her bed, and then try it again if she wants to. Something like that. All right. Thank you for your question. Feel free to ask another one, Sarah. Okay. Next question. All right. This question is for Emma. I was walking Decker the other day, and another dog being walked was approaching us the opposite way. When the dog got close, Decker barked at him and tried to lunge at him. What's the best way to handle approaching dog on walk? Is it better to keep him walking or to have him sit and wait for a dog to pass? Another really good question, because a lot of people that I work with, they want to sit the dog in that scenario, and my recommendation would be not to, but I would keep walking. Okay, I would for Decker for now, and for a while, cross the street. I would cross the street. I wouldn't even get that close. Since Decker has been attacked on leash, that means you will have to keep your distance from dogs for a while, under your control. That's the most important. Under your control, and then keeping the dog away from other dogs for the right amount of time will build his confidence in you, his trust in you, and lose his fear about another dog coming up to him and attacking him. All right? Thank you for your question. Darren says, no question, just praise for what you did for Bruce Wayne Tappy, aka Indy, human aggression. He now allows humans to prove they are trustworthy. Does not start with barking and aggression. Thank you. I appreciate that, Darren. It was my pleasure getting to know Indy. That was a long time ago. That was 2014. There's a video of him when he first came to me. And, well, that's good to hear. And he was lucky to have you and find you as a owner, because he's been awesome ever since. So I appreciate that. Okay, I have a question. How do I get my dog to fully pay attention to me? I was recently at a dog park. My dog was very interested in the dog on the other side of the fence. He would hear my commands and take a few seconds, then react. How do I correct this? Well, you'll have to have something to help your dog take your word for it. And that's just dog training in a nutshell, but you'll have to add a tool, so to speak. Best tool is the e-collar. You can start with a vibration, as harmless as can be. Many people are still scared of the e-collar, but it is the best tool invented when it comes to dog training, because you can be very gentle. The goal is not to just use the e-collar for bad behavior, but a communicative device. And again, to help your dog take your word for it. When I say come, that means come. No matter a squirrel, another dog, a bunch of dogs, a bunch of people, rabbits, whatever it is, because you have to come. It will save your life. You have to come. Yes, thank you for asking. It's called the Mini Educator. Okay, and the model number is ET300 from ecollar Technologies. So if you just Google Mini Educator, E as in electric, T as in Tom, ET300. That'll do the trick. It has a half-mile distance. It's waterproof. Just make sure you read the instructions, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Thank you for your question. What are some good methods to help a dog gain confidence for nervous dogs? What gains confidence is the dog's ability to take instruction from you. The dog is going to make sense of this world through you. Well, it should. Oftentimes, it will make sense of this world without you if you're not there or don't know how to be there. So you have to learn how to be there so that you can help the dog realize that the world is not the way they think it is, whether it's nervousness, whatever the behavior is. It's up to us to show them that things are okay. Then that's what builds confidence. But they build confidence through their ability to listen to your instruction, your command. So I would start with something very simple and little, like heeling on the walk, or making the dog go lay down on its bed in the house while you're eating or watching television. Make the dog do something after its needs are met, obviously. Exercise, food, water, health is good. Then you can start giving the dogs commands that they should do something. It's for their benefit. It's the exercise of the brain, and they'll enjoy it. I hope that helped. Feel free to, if you guys are not subject to one question, you guys can ask multiple questions. Okay? Let's keep this conversation rolling. Okay, thanks for working with Vigo in the boarding training so far. He's a rock star this week, but no bath yet. No aggression at all with people. He pays no attention at all. Cheers, boss. Hey, Jeff, I appreciate that, man. It was my pleasure working with that beast of a dog. I hope to work with you in the future, 100%. Whether it be with 2 wheels or Vigo's swimming. It was my pleasure knowing the big guy. All right. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Here they come. Okay. Okay, here we go. How do I properly use an e-collar? I have not used one for training, but have hunting breed who is so wild that I need good training tool. I bought e-collar, but want to make sure I'm going to train the right way. Thank you for asking another solid question. You guys are getting some really good questions that are going to help a lot of people. So keep them coming. I really appreciate that. Okay, so the e-collar is used or should be used to reinforce, not to teach. The e-collar should be used to proof, not to teach. So make sure the dog knows what you want before you add that layer. Okay, but it's all layers. Just think about it in layers. Okay, your voice is a layer. The leash is a layer. And I would say the leash and the collar that you're working with is a layer. So voice, leash, it's a training tool. Your voice is a training tool. Voice, leash, e-collar could be another training tool. Gentle leader, whatever you want. The tools they're all training tools, and they're all layers. And you eventually want to peel them back, but for long enough, they have to be together and in use simultaneously. That's how I use the e-collar. I don't want to use the e-collar for the rest of the dog's life. I don't want to use a leash for the rest of the dog's life. I want to be able to give my dogs off-leash time without collars and have the confidence that they will come every single time I call them. Okay, so you got layers, right? Leash, collar, voice. Voice is always going to be there. You want to get rid of these soon, but you have to keep them on long enough. Okay. So when you're using them, in whatever command you're using them for, use your word and then use your layer. Use another layer, whether it be the leash or the collar. Use them simultaneously. We're teaching the dog what the e-collar actually means, and it means listen to me. Listen to my words. My word means something. My word is not to be ignored. If you ignore it, you will get the e-collar and my voice. Okay, but you don't want to obviously overwhelm the dog. So the type of e-collar is important. It must have a variety of levels for the sensitive dog and the very stubborn dog. That dog Vigo that I was just talking about is a perfect example of a very strong dog, because 100 levels is not enough for that dog. When you put it on high, it does minimum effect on the dog. He just goes. He listens though. He's smart, very smart. Okay, so that's just a brief. There's much more. It can be complex, but that's sort of just a general description of how to use the e-collar in the way where it's a communicative device and not some disciplinary device, which is what most people use. Oh, my dog's bad. My dog's behavior's bad. Gotta go get an e-collar. Gotta go get an e-collar. Okay. On a technical standpoint, yes, it can stop bad behaviors. But is it necessarily fair to the dog? I don't think so. Reliability only comes with consistent training with the layers. And the thing that you will always have, again, is your voice. You won't always have the e-collar on. But in order to get that, you have to spend some time with that e-collar and training well. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Feel free to ask another one, and thank you for your question. All right, 3-dog pack. How do you stop poop eating? Serious issue with all 3. Wow. Well, first I'm pretty sure it's learned behavior from by now if all 3 dogs are doing it. I would say you could, there may be a dietary or a food issue. Some people say that. I haven't really came to a certain conclusion that that's it. Some people say that the dogs need a change of diet because they're not getting something that they should be with the current food. So try that. I'd probably try that first. I've caught my dog Tobias trying to eat poop maybe 3 or 4 times, and it's only because he's a very food-driven dog, and it's only in specific dogs that have like really good food. Hi, Trudy. So again, maybe I'd try to switch up foods. That'd be my first suggestion. You can also get onto them for it, or pick up the poop, which is a hassle, but I have to do it. So that's all I got for you. I would definitely, my first suggestion would be to evaluate their diet though. Thanks for your question, man. All right. Hey, Jeremy, a friend of mine is experiencing her dog being reactive towards men, growling, lunging, nipping. I encourage her to reach out to you to get advice, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. Are there exercises you would recommend to help with this? Yes, get the dog to trust the owner more. The dog does not trust the owner enough to not try and handle a nervous situation on its own. So when it sees a man, typically men are bigger in size, more, taller, whatever it may be, and less sensitive to, less sensitive to, uh, just less sensitive to body language, I would say. There we go. More abrupt. And so some dogs can be intimidated of that. But again, the most important thing is that that dog learn how to trust its owner more. The dog has got to be able to take direction from the owner. That's first and foremost. In every aspect, not just when there's a man around, but in every aspect. How's the dog listen if it's just them two in the house? If not good, then make it good, If it does listen good, then make it listen better. Because obviously good is not enough. But you can literally help that situation with how you and your dog, how well your dog listens to you when it's just you two and everything's very comfortable. That's what I'm saying. All right. So get that dog walking right. How about that? That's a good exercise. Let's get the dog walking in a heel correctly first. That's a good step. Anything that causes the dog to actually use its brain, as opposed to doing what the dog just wants to do, will help open up the possibility of a new perspective coming from the dog. Okay? You can teach her that. But I appreciate you reaching out. All right, let's see. Okay. They get the best and treats. Well, try and switch it up either way. Try and switch it up. Sometimes I'm kind of skeptical about food anyway, but just try and switch up protein source. Let's see where you get. Also, I just thought about something else. I'm thinking this is, yeah. Try putting pineapple in the dog's food. Like a little bit, like a spoonful. Organic pineapple. And see if that helps. I've heard that's helped. I have not tried it myself. Because I haven't had a habitual poop eater, but organic pineapple. Or organic pumpkin. But what organic pumpkin does is they don't they don't poop as often. It'll just kind of they won't poop as often. You do that if you have a dog that has diarrhea. So there you go. Try that and let me see how it works. Or let me know how it works, because I'd love to know. Okay. My dog was eating poop as well. This was after her being super ill, in the hospital, near death. I started giving her vitamins, red meat tenderizer on their food. Makes the poop unfavorable. Since the 2, she has stopped. Check in with your vet first, though. Thank you. Great suggestion. Okay, we got... someone didn't like that comment. Meat tenderizer on their food. I don't know. All right. Let's keep them going. Keep these questions rolling. All right. Next question is Sarah's question. I made the mistake of letting my dog on the furniture, and now we are getting new furniture because he ruined it, and I would like to keep him off of it. Is this hopeless? Or can you give me some tips? Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm always going to go with the harder way because I know the harder way is the most reliable way. Okay, and so here's what you do. You just get beds for your dogs, keep leashes on the dogs, and make the dogs start lying in their bed for a while. Okay, that's where they stay, not on the couch. And when they come over to you for petting, right, when you're sitting on the couch and they come over to you for petting, don't pet the dog in that area because it'll just kind of tell them that it's okay now to get on the couch. And then when you're gone, you can put things on the couch that may deter them from getting up on the couch, whatever it may be. Laundry baskets, I don't know. But again, basically what you want to do and it'll be tough, but get the dog start to being comfortable anywhere else besides the couch. Good luck. I hope your new furniture does not get ruined. That would be bad. All right. Thank you for your question. Okay, when my daughter's friends come over to play with the dog, it turns into a show-off. Like a teenage boy showing off for the girls. He goes from being a sweet dog to being a total jerk. So basically, I have to keep them on a leash, them in the house, and all he wants to do is play with the kids. Okay. Well, that's okay. If he has to be kept on leash, that's fine. I would question if it's him wanting to play or him looking like he wants to play but actually trying to control his nervous energy, which is what you want to sort of examine. Everything that you do with your dog, they should be able to listen. Okay? And so if he's not listening to you and totally blowing you off, you did right by putting the dog on a leash. So the dog can learn to control its impulses. So I'd say keep doing that or make the dog listen more in that regard. Okay? So the dog will then learn how to control itself. It can't be obsessive play. Play is one thing because play is not obsessive. But if it seems like it loses its mind every single time those girls come over, it could be a controlling thing, not a play thing. A controlling thing that looks like play. Okay, that's what you want to not let happen, which, again, what you did, so that's awesome. But evaluate that. Really evaluate that because you could stop that in its entirety then if it's something that you don't think the dog can actually control. Okay, then it means you have to. All right. Thank you for your question. That question was for Katie. Okay. I took my 6.5-month-old pit bull to the park, and she was playing great with all the dogs. Then a lady brought her 5-pound fluff ball on the big dog side, and the dogs, including mine, were trying to play with it. The big dogs tend to play rougher, and my dog was standing over the little dog, and the lady was screaming at me to get my dog off hers. This is why they make small dog side. Her dog was baring its teeth and at the big dogs. How should I have handled this? And I worry with Brookie being a pit bull. I think you handle it the best you could. There's not much you could do. I mean, it's kind of annoying that somebody would bring their dog over there, the small dog, into the big dog yard. What was she thinking? What do you think was going to happen? Especially if the dog is not social, a socially, uh, strong dog. There are small dogs that have no problem being with the big dogs, but they got to have a really strong personality or a lot of confidence. It takes a lot of confidence to not think that you can be bullied, or if from a small dog's perspective. And so, um, it's not good. So you handle it the best way you could. I would have definitely went and grabbed my dog off and had a few words for that dog owner, but what are you gonna do? So thank you for your question. Feel free to ask another. I appreciate that. All right, how do I go about introducing if Lola seems no interest in wanting to meet the puppy in the kennel? Or, as we talked about, I'm worried she may not want anything to do with him. No, that's fine. That's fine. It's fine. She doesn't want anything to do with him. That's fine. That's good. Give it time. I don't care if my dog ignores dogs. That's good. It's better than being aggressive towards the dog. Give it time. You can take the next step, actually, and bring the dog out on leash. How about that? Once the dog is indifferent in every single stage, then you can take the next step. So perfect. Good. That's a good step. Take the dog out on leash now. Try that. Let me know how it goes. Suggestions on taking the dog to the dog park for the first time so they don't get overwhelmed and it's a good experience. Go with a time during the day where there's only a few dogs. And then when you get there, walk around, if the dog has any relationship with you, walk around the dog park. Okay, so kind of walk around the perimeter of the dog park instead of standing there, like everyone else does. Maybe the dog will follow you, but all of it should be off leash. And yeah, give that a shot. All right, thank you for your question. Okay. Oh, this is for Django. Okay, hold on. Different story now. Not really. But go there early or go there late. Use your e-collar. I mean, Django's going to follow you. And so I wouldn't really recommend dog parks anyway, to be honest with you. They suck. For reasons I had just explained earlier, but because there always can be people who have no control over their dogs that come in, and what you wouldn't want is a bad experience. Now, again, if you have a friend that has a dog and you would like to go, and you're in the Madison area, I think they still have these, but they have parks where you can rent out and no one else is allowed to be in there during the time you rent with your dog. How cool is that? I think that's a pretty cool idea. But oh, I said, oh no, not him, our husky. Okay. But again, that's what I would do. Your husky probably will ignore you anyway, but walk around. Try to get the dog to say, "Oh, where's my parent?" And then they'll come over and naturally give the dog a break from the other dogs. But again, just go there when there's little to no people there, or like one or two. All right. Thanks for your question. How do you feel about brushing a dog's teeth? I've never done this. I give him dental treats. Is that good enough? I don't know if one thing's better than the other. I don't brush my dog's teeth. I give them dental treats as well. So I've never really brush teeth, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But there are some good dog people that I have much respect for that do so. So give it a shot. Let us know how it goes. All right. Thank you for your question. Any ideas on how to stop a dog from chewing on the kennel door and damaging their teeth? Yes, you have to be able to get the dog to listen to you while the dog is in the kennel while you're home. So put the dog in the kennel while you're home and correct any behavior other than the dog being calm, quiet, and laying down. Do not correct the dog when he's laying down and being calm and quiet, because that would be bad. But correct the dog for whining. How about that? If you can get your dog to stop whining or barking in the crate, then there's a really good chance the dog will not chew on the kennel. But start with those little things. So it needs more time training wise while in the crate while you're home, so you can correct unwanted behavior. Okay? Start with the whining though. Let's forget about the chewing. We won't even have to see the chewing to correct the chewing. We'll have to see the whining, the barking, the pushiness. Good crate behavior, good crate training does not just mean that the dog doesn't piss and poop in the house. Good crate training means the dog can be calm, cool, and collected while in the crate. Okay, thank you for your question. Feel free to ask another one. Know any videos, trainers that use the bite work toy that you used with Dozer? Hopefully you remember. Want to learn how to use it properly, since he now outweighs me by 10 pounds and loses his mind with excitement when he sees it. Do I have any videos and trainers that use bite work with the toy that you used with Dozer? I do remember. I actually have videos, but there's tons of videos. Just type in bite work, or you can even type in Rottweiler Schutzen bite work, and you'll see. You may get some tips. But if it's a control issue, make sure you use your ecollar with him to get him to listen to you. So they have a thing called bite obedience, which means your dog should learn to be very obedient before it bites the chew toy. So putting the dog in a down first, and then letting the dog come and say, okay, and then giving the dog the toy would be one thing. And then once the dog has a toy, bring the dog back, because you know how to do that with your recall. And then getting the dog to release it, saying out via e-collar if needed, picking up the toy, and doing it all over again. Bite obedience. Because it doesn't matter how, you only have to be so strong. You're not going to be stronger than Dozer. But there are actually people of all shapes and sizes and sexes, genders, whatever, that have big, powerful dogs and can control them if you learn how to control them. Just got to be savvy with it. All right. Thank you for your question. All right, my German Shepherd and I love to do all kinds of training. We are currently looking for something new to do. He rocks at agility, but looking to maybe get into some water stuff. He's scared of the water. How do I go about getting him into the water? He will only go in if I am in the water, like he has to rescue me. Swimming would be good, would be also good on his joints. So it's a win-win if I can get him swimming. So do more of that. How does he swim? Is he swim okay? If he doesn't swim okay, then buy a life jacket for him. And then if you want to start dock diving with your dog, then start running off the dock and jumping into the lake with him. You know what I mean? Use your leash, but use it in a savvy way to where you're not just pulling him in, but he's starting to choose to jump in. If he has a high enough drive for a toy, that would help as well. Those are just a couple of things that I would do, but I would make sure the dog feels secure in the water once he's in it to start learning, from a learning perspective. Yes, there are many dogs that can learn how to swim without a life jacket, but life jacket makes it a little easier. Okay? And use your favorite toy. But you also have to learn how to reach the dog too. Okay, here's the hard part, but the most reliable part. In any new venture, when you're teaching your dog something, the better the obedience, the better the chance of the dog actually taking your word for it. There are many dogs that are fearful of the treadmill. There are many dogs that are fearful of water. There are many dogs that are fearful of jumping into the car. There are many dogs that are fearful of walking on a certain floor surface. There are many dogs that are just afraid of anything, a lot of things. But you use those as a way to get your dog to trust you more. There's many dogs that are just afraid of taking a bath. But again, if you're having big time trouble, then I would seek out some help. But basically, you just have to be more stubborn than the dog to get the dog to say, all right, fine, here we go again. I'm taking her word for it. We're doing this. As opposed to their protest actually winning. Because their protest is keeping them from doing things and enjoying things that they would eventually or otherwise enjoy. Does that make sense? So that's the most reliable way. That's the hard way. Agility is really good for that. A lot of agility people train their dog by persuasion. But only reliable agility. And anything for that matter, I don't care what it is. It can be tracking. All right? Something that is, hi Sarah, something that is so 99% the dog's motivation. You really can't force a dog to track something. You gotta kind of rely on their motivation. But even tracking, the more obedient your dog is, the better tracker they will be. Okay, so appreciate your question. Feel free to ask another one. Okay. Our vet highly recommended teeth brushing. I started with my male when he was just a puppy, so he actually loves getting his teeth brushed. Our female is a bit more challenging, but we do the best we can. We use a regular soft bristle toothbrush with dog and toothpaste. There you go. Thank you for that reply. I appreciate that. Okay, if your puppy is little and still doesn't listen to you completely, how do you stop the whining in the kennel? Any suggestions? I've tried with treats and toys in the kennel to keep the puppy busy. Yeah, treats and toys are not going to work because it doesn't do anything but temporarily keep them occupied. That's not the problem. The problem is the dog knows that whining will get it treats and toys, or your attention, or out of the crate. So what you have to distinguish is if the whining is actually them wanting to go out, or them just being needy and manipulative. So one thing you can do with puppies is open up the crate just like this much. The dog's going to assume that it can come out, and then you shut the crate quickly and say no. Okay? Kind of shut it in the dog's face. Open it up, shut it quickly. No. Dog's gonna go. If it's a stubborn dog, may have to do it 2 or 3 times or however many times. But get the dog to stop whining if it's not needing to go to the bathroom and all of its needs are met. All right. Thank you for your question. How did you introduce little one with the dogs? Oops. And what etiquette did you use to teach with a little one? You talking about my child? If you're talking about my child, this is how I'm doing it. So I've got one of those. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, but it's like a bumpy wrap or something like that. So I've been doing that, and I have not. I've only allowed one dog to come up and sniff the baby, and that's we're about 6 weeks in on Friday, so my child will be 6 weeks, and they have not. Only one dog I have allowed to sniff him. There's just no rush. There's no need for a rushing. I don't care that they don't come up to him. I want them to, first of all, I don't care if they, end up liking him or not. They will respect all that the child can bring. All right, that sounds a little harsh. I do want my dogs to like my child, but it's not my priority. So that's what I mean by that. It's not my priority. So in attempts to get them to like my child, I bring my child around the dogs, and I do the normal routine that I would be doing if the child wasn't there. So that's why I have that wrap, right? So I'm not even making it a factor that here's a child and let's see how you do. It's like, no, we're going to do our regular routine, and then there's a child that is in addition to that. So, for example, I will go let them out and feed them first thing in the morning. That's what I do. If they seem like they're paying attention to the child, I'll just shoo them away. Go on, go to the bathroom, do your job. That is what I'm incorporating for now. And in doing that, the baby, will intermittently scream, or not scream, but cry. The baby's making noises. They're getting to see the baby and what it has to offer, but yet they're still doing what they have been doing the entire time I didn't have a child. This is what's going to cause them to become used to it and become indifferent to my child. It's not even a factor for me right now, though. I'm taking care of my child, I'm taking care of the dogs, and there's nothing that's changing as far as I'm not leaving time for my dogs to get used to my child. I'm keeping their routine as consistent as possible, and it's just like how I would introduce a new person to my dogs. It wouldn't be anything different. We just let them out, and there'd be another person there. And I would shoo my dogs away from that new person in the beginning as well until they became indifferent or calm. Then we take the next step. So that's where we're at right now. Thanks for asking. I think that's going to help people, update people. That's a good subject. So again, to reiterate, it's not my concern right now whether my dogs like my child. It is my concern that they respect my words at all times, no matter what the hell's going on. Then, after they respect my words and obedience, then maybe we can take the next step. All right? Thank you for your question. Oh. Okay, I let our dog on our furniture and it got ruined. So we got new stuff. Is it hopeless to keep the dog off of it? What? Didn't you already ask that? I think I answered that question. Oh, I think I answered that question earlier. Yes. So you'll have to go back after we close the show. You'll just have to go back. I answered that question for you, Sarah. So thank you for your question. Yes, the doggy don't may work well if used properly. Yes, that's a good suggestion too for Sarah. The doggy don't would work for whining as well in the crate. Okay, so you could try that. It may or may not. All right, you guys, it's about that time. I appreciate if you guys have any final questions, go ahead and type them. We'll answer those. But if not, feel free to give me a thumbs up if it helped. I appreciate you guys watching. And thank you for all the good questions. These are really good questions. I might have to post this up on YouTube or something like that. Because some really good, solid questions that are going to help. I appreciate that, Jake. Let's get together soon. Cheers, Jeff. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.